It is time. Let's do this. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so happy and grateful that you're here and that you're taking time for you. And I am happy that you're giving that trust in me. And we're going to talk about lead yourself first today. I wanted to start with a little story. I heard this story many years ago from Wayne Dyer, for you who know who he is. And I think this story is really relevant to all us women who do everything but abandon ourselves and maybe don't dare to look inside. So the story is about this man, and he is in his house. He's walking around doing stuff, and he has his car keys in his hand, soon on his way to go somewhere. And all of a sudden, there is a power out. So all the lights go down. And as he stumbles around, he loses his car keys somewhere. And he starts looking for them, but after a while, he realizes that there is no use of trying to find them because of the darkness. But he gets this brilliant idea because outside, the street lights are still on. So he thinks maybe I should just go outside and start looking for the car keys out there where the light is. So he does that. He goes outside where the street lights are and start looking for the car keys. And after a while, his neighbor comes and said, "What are you doing?" "I'm looking for my car keys." "All right. Do you want me to help you look?" "Yes, please do." And they keep on looking for the car keys outside in the light. And after a while, the neighbor says, "Where did you lose your keys?" And he said, "Inside the house." And the neighbor said, "But why are you looking here then?" And the moral of the story is we are so occupied looking outside of ourselves that we forget to look inside where the key actually is. So, with a little story, we start. And for you who are new to my world, I am Mia Humble. And why am I sitting here today? I am the founder of Humble House, and I started this journey because that's how I see it, for the women who are where I used to be. I started something that I would have benefited going through all the things that I have been through. So formally, I started my first coaching business around 30 years ago. I also been a part of building different businesses as management and CEO and so on. But the biggest part is I'm also a person who basically restarted my own life twice. So the first time was I was a high manager in a big company. We were on our way to be enlisted. I was married. I had 2 kids. My life was going very, very fast. And I had basically no time for me. I managed life. The thing was, I liked my life. Like I liked helping clients. I loved the people I worked with. I was passionate in my life. I loved spending time with my kids. Like everything was good. but my body warned me over and over again, because the pace I was going through life in was a bit overwhelming, to be frank. And finally, uh, the body really, after screaming over and over again, said no. And I got so sick. I was on the line between life and death. And the back end of that was also that my my health was gone. Uh, I had to leave the company I had been a part of for more than 10 years, just before we going listed, and I got divorced. So when we really push our life to the limit, it pushes back. So I had to restart. And that was the first time. And the first time was really me not listening at all. And then I rebuilt my life, started a new company, had other investors, started a new relationship. But I did it on a bit of a shaky ground, because when you go through that kind of destruction in your life, it takes a while to rebuild it. And this time I had the tools. I knew before the warning signals and before my life collapsed that I had to do different choices. And that was the second time I rebuilt my life. So I left again. I left the relationship, my fiance, after 8 years together. I left another company that I built from the ground up to a very successful business of 10 years. And when you make these kind of decisions, it has consequences, because when you, who are used to taking care of everybody else, starts taking care of you, people around you will react, and not everybody will support you. And that's also something we're going to talk about today in this journey. Like, when you choose yourself, there is a gap between the old self and the new self. So I'm so happy you're here. This is a little bit on my story and why I'm so passionate about doing this. And now let's get into it. So I'm going to share with you some slides. And let's see what we have here. There you go. So why lead yourself first? Because what I see with so many women in the situation I was is that we prioritize everybody else before ourselves. We are last on the list if we have any time or any place in our life. And that's why I created this journey of awareness for you. So welcome. And who are you? Who are these women? We're high achievers. We want a lot out of life. And this is not about not being successful and not doing life and not having all the fun and all the things. We are very responsible. And we're responsible not only in our careers, in all areas of our life. And we show up for everyone. And the thing is, our lives looks very successful from the outside. But there is this thing underneath the surface, this tiredness that comes. And that is the first step. So, the question, what if that exhaustion is not the sign that you're failing? What if it is the sign that there is something deeper that needs your attention? This is the wake up call that I'm taking you through today. So, today, I want you to discover something about yourself. And when we create the life we created, or we are in the space we are today, there's a vision what success looks like. And we have this feeling of what we believe it will feel like. And then we build this life and it doesn't feel anything like we thought it would. And there is this hidden pattern behind that exhaustion where we get really, really tired. And we will look into that today. And we will also get to understand what self-leadership really means. And we want to understand how we can stop, abandon ourselves. And we will also take the first step to come home to ourselves again. I know that if you're here, you're not here because you're lazy. And you're not here because you lack discipline. You're here because you've been carrying too much for absolutely too long. And that is why you're missing yourself. So when I see you, I see the woman that solves every problem, that can feel into everybody else's needs before they even can. I remember being the person who actually could translate everybody's feelings into what it really meant for them before they even realized it. We love to deliver results. Most of the women I work with has these to-do lists and they're so efficient. Like they can manage anything. And everybody applauds them of being so strong. The thing is, we also keep on going. There is no rest, there is no stop. Again, we can really manage life like we do what we should do. You should eat this way, you should train that way, you should. But we don't listen to our inner voice. And we don't ask for help. And why don't we ask for help? Because when you manage life, everything has to be your way, because otherwise you will believe it will collapse. There is no space for mistakes. There is no space for things being in a way you have not control over. And that is very, very tiring. But the thing is, behind every achievement, there is the loss of you. I don't know what I need anymore. I feel disconnected from myself. I am tired of being the strong one. I want to feel like me again. There is so many women coming into my world who talks about not even knowing what they want and need anymore, not being in touch with what actually makes them happy. They're lost and they don't have any time set aside for themselves, their needs, their desires. And I remember when I was at my lowest in self-abandonment, the only time I had time for myself was in the car when I was going to work and home from work. And if anybody called me during that time, there was no space for me that day because I was efficient, right? And what is it that it costs us when we are so capable? Well, the thing is, we get so applauded being the good ones. We can do everything. We're good at it. We're successful. We're handling it. And that is what costs us so much. Because if we're going to do everything and we're going to do it ourselves and we're going to be strong and capable all the time, that's a spiral going nowhere. And it also, we somewhere believe it is who we are. And because we believe that we are what we do, we disconnect from ourselves so deeply. So there is a pattern to this self abandonment. And it doesn't really look like we believe it should look, like neglect. It looks polished and good, and all the things we're taught is really, really good things to have as patterns and what to do and who to be. We're responsible. We have commitment. We're loving. We achieve things. Like these are qualities we all want to have, right? But when you overdo this and don't prioritize yourself and your well being and your inner voice, it is the road to abandon yourself. And this is a little bit of the cycle that leads us to this abandonment. We notice a need and we ignore it. If I'm going to look back at the worst time when I got so sick, the neglect of myself was next level. I remember one time I was in a meeting at the office with one of my employees, and I got very, very dizzy, and I had had symptoms for quite a while then. So I went into the bathroom of the office and lay down on the floor, realized I should probably call an ambulance, but I was lying on this floor resting for 5 minutes and got up and kept on going. That is next level self neglect. But we also do it in the small moments where we say yes to everything, even though we want to say no. So the scale is big, but it all counts. And it's all a way of abandon ourselves. We also want to meet all the expectations. And sometimes the expectations that we think others have on us is not even true. We have made them up in our own mind, and we still go so far to meet up with them. And the thing is, when we do this, we repeat it. It's not that we do it once and realize this is not going to work for me. No, no, no. We do it over and over again. Neglect the need that comes up, and then go for another expectation that we want to meet. This is to the to-do list where we never ask for help, and then we repeat it. So here are some examples of that. So the saying yes when you mean no. And also resting when everything is done. And the problem with that is things will never get done. There will always be something else. And also when I say rest, it's not that you're just gonna lie down for a while, because many might do that. Hear also a lot of say, I'm going to take one day off, or I'm going to take a spa, then I have done something for myself and I am the good girl. Again, that comes from a mindset where you're doing life, you're being the good girl because you took 15 minutes to lie down. But that's not the reset. We have to shift and understand what we need. We have to listen to the inner voice. It's not just the rest. Maybe you need something completely different. You need to start listening. The other thing that we're really, really good at is measuring our worth on the output. We become the person that we believe that we are what we do. We believe we're worthy only if we accomplish all these things. We believe we only deserve if we keep on doing, keep on being strong. We create an identity that strips us of who we are. And in that, being needed of others is so important because it's such a big part of the identity. Your kids, work, friends, you're always there for everybody else. And all of a sudden, without that, who are you? Do you remember? So, if I ask you this question, where have I learned to leave myself behind in order to succeed? This is a powerful question. And I will leave this one with you to sit with. Because when you do that, you will see patterns throughout your life. Small decisions, maybe a situation where something happened and you got extra credit, or the other way around. Maybe it's a pattern that you have from your childhood, growing up, seeing what was going on then, or how you were valued as a child, what you were taught matters. And this question will give you so many answers, and it will give you an awareness that will really, really benefit you if you have the courage to sit with it. So bring this one with you. Take a screenshot or take your phone and take a photo of it, because if you're really honest and dig deep within this, you will find things that you haven't seen before. And then we have this organization. I have this very dear friend who really had abandoned herself in so many ways. And every time I wanted her to release some pressure and do something else, or just something for her that she enjoyed, she said, I just have to organize this first. There was always something she had to organize before taking the trip, going out to dinner, having fun, just being herself. And finally, I just made it into a joke. And I think something clicked after a while. But we're really, really good at organizing things. But the pattern of abandoning ourselves is the opposite. So we cannot organize ourselves out of abandonment, because it requires sitting and spending time with yourself, not being organized. not being structured, not being a good girl, not manage yourself, listening. So, why isn't success the answer? Well, as I said before, doing is not going to solve. It's not more planning, it's not more discipline, it's not more optimizing, it's not more control. And these are the things we're used to. That's how we manage life, and that's how we think it's going to be. So the shift from that to actually listen to yourself is hard. But you can be super successful without being this planning, disciplined, optimizing, controlling person. You can actually do it with connection to yourself in a flow state where you can lean back and give space to yourself. Because when you do that, your energy will be so much more at ease and you will stop being so tired. So, we want to see the difference between the self management and the self leadership. And the management, as I was saying before, we manage our life. We're not living it, we're not enjoying it, and we're not here to push through. We're here to experience life. It doesn't mean we're not going to have problems. It doesn't mean we're not going to work. It doesn't mean we're going to abandon all of that. But we're not going to manage life. We're going to lead life. And we're going to lead ourselves. And that means we have to get in touch with what is true for me. So the different questions are self management. How can I get everything done? The answer to that is you can't. You will never get everything done. So release that from the beginning. And the self leadership is what is true for me? And don't override that question. Because when you're going to navigate yourself through life and when you're used to listening to everybody else and their needs and their values and their opinions, sometimes you have to make hard decisions if you're going to listen to yourself. And everybody ain't going to love it. And that is a part of leading yourself. As I said in the beginning, I lost some people deciding to reclaim my own life. And it has to be okay. It has to be okay to be sad about it. It has to be okay to release it. And it opens doors to something new. But if you're going to lead yourself, it requires you to listen to what you actually want and don't compromise with everything in your life. The achievement asks, how do I become enough? And if you work towards being enough, you will never feel that because it's an inner experience. And the truth is, you are always enough. You are always enough because it's not attached to what you do and what you achieve. You're always enough. You were born enough. But that is an inner job. That's how you feel within. And nothing outside can fill that void. And self leadership asks, how do I honor who I already am? Because you are already enough. So every time you feel a disconnect from who you are, you will feel unworthy. And it has nothing to do with what you do or achieve. It is how connected you are to yourself. That's why we call it leading yourself first. Because when you lead you first, everything else will fall into place. And when you lead yourself before you start leading others, you lead from a whole other place. That means making the choices from who you truly are, from the inside, not from what other people say, what other people do, what you believe they have expectations on you, not because they might get disappointed in you or there might be a conflict, because all of these things will happen no matter what. And if you take yourself out of the equation of your life, that is a problem. So you have to make your choices. You have to set your own energy and protect it. You have to set boundaries. And boundaries is an interesting thing because most people who decide they're going to set boundaries, they believe that boundaries is something I set on the outside of myself. That means I'm going to control how other people see me, what they do, what they don't do. They can't treat me that way, but that is not boundaries. Boundaries is about yourself. Boundaries is about you saying, I can tolerate this, but I cannot tolerate that. And just because you say I can't tolerate it doesn't mean everybody else is going to change. It means I make decisions and choices based on my own boundaries. I can be in this environment. I can hang out with these people. I can do this kind of exercise, but I can't do that. I can't do that. And I can't spend time with these people because that is against my boundaries. And then you make the choices based on yes or no. And you can tell other people, I'm sorry, I cannot cooperate with this or that. But it's your choice. You cannot demand that to control other people. They have their own agenda and their own life, and they're their own people. So your boundaries is set on you. I cannot have a relationship with a person who treats me that way or have these values or who do these things. I cannot work on a company that do this and treat people like this, or that's your boundaries. And then you have to remove yourself from the situation. And of course, your life. You have to lead your life. If you're in a place where you're not want to be, you have to lead yourself to the next one. Might take time, but don't stay just because. Reconnect with yourself and you will find out where you want to go, and then you can start walking. And the first step, I said it over and over again, and I will not stop saying it, it is to listen. Your body has language. I told you the first time when I didn't listen, I was very stubborn and I was spinning my life so fast and my body was screaming. I mean, I pushed myself almost so far that I nearly died. That is not listening. You have intuition, you know. And I can say during all these decisions I made, even when I was there, I knew I had to do something different. I knew I had decisions to make. I knew there was another path for me. But I didn't stop and listen. That's why I did it differently. The other time, I redid my life. Then I made conscious decision. I listened to my intuition. I took small step towards where I'm going. I listened to my body. How does it feel? How can I work with my body? And then we have our emotions. And our emotions is so important because we want to feel good. We want to be happy. We want to enjoy our life. And we have this life and it's meant to be enjoyed. So we need to focus on that, the emotions behind. And if it feels off, it feels on. And why do I feel? And pay attention to it. because we work a bit differently. Sometimes we can go into big emotions, and they might be just a trigger from something that happened before. And sometimes the small things that comes up is really the guidance that you have. Learn to understand your emotions so they will be your best friend, because you want to feel good about your life. The day you're checking out from that life, you want to remember the emotions of your life, and you want to be happy and proud and see, I really, really lived. And then we have the values. And I see so many women who abandon what they think is valuable. And I've done it myself more than once. Put my values aside. And that is not a nice feeling, because you have to go back and you have to redo whatever you did. And they matter because they are the guidelines of your life. From your values, you will set your boundaries. From your values, you will make the choices. From your values, you know what is right for you. So if you don't know what they are today, when you start listening to yourself, you will definitely know what they are. So this is the framework that we're working through. We go from self-abandonment to self-awareness. And that's what I want you to feel after today, after this masterclass. I want you to be aware of you. I want you to start listening to yourself, start feeling yourself, start noticing yourself. And it doesn't go from 1 minute to the other, it's a process. But as you become aware, start listening, you will create a new relationship with yourself. And with that comes the trust. And when you trust yourself, that means if I'm going to do this for me, I can trust myself because I will take care of me. I will be my person. I will be there for myself. I will be my own best friend. And then you can lead yourself. Then you can get into the self-leadership. Notice this. You cannot change what you cannot see. And the awareness that we're talking about here today is where the transformation begins. If you want to change your life, if you want to transform, something has to change. And before that, you have to be aware of the patterns that you're living by today. So first, look at your patterns. What are they? And you look at your thought patterns, what you do, how you react, what drives you, how often you compromise. These are patterns that goes around over and over again. And you only notice them if you actually pay attention, because they are not conscious. You're doing it without thinking because this has become who you are. Number two, look at your triggers. That means what gets you going? What set you off? What annoys you? What makes you angry? What do you tell about other people? What kind of behavior don't you think is okay? What are the triggers? Because the triggers is a pattern in you. And then what needs do you have? Can you even tell yourself today what needs you have? And if not, you need to sit with yourself to understand. What do you need to feel good? Do you need daily walks just by yourself, a slow morning, reading books? What is it that you need? What fills your cup? What makes you feel good about being you? And as I said before, many, many women that comes to me don't even know. I just know that I'm not here anymore. I misses myself, but I don't remember who I am. But the good thing is, when you start paying attention, you will find out. You will remember. You will reconnect. And then you can tap into your own truth. Takes a bit of courage to really tap into that. Because when we done things like abandon ourselves, there might come up shame, blaming ourselves. We have to forgive ourselves for what we didn't know. And it takes courage. It takes courage to meet your own truth. And the time is to remember yourself. And it can come with expectations and roles and achievements and opinions. And all of that is patterns you have to release. Sometimes you have to release the expectations you had, how it was going to be, how it's going to look. Also, all the expectations that you believe others have on you. Maybe you took on so many roles that don't serve your life. And maybe you took on them in a way that is not aligned with who you are. And all the achievements, all the applauds, all the outside. How scary is it to let go of that? Or maybe on the other side of it, something even greater will be there. And then we have the opinions of others, which is very, very scary because you think you can control it, but you can't. And people will have opinions no matter what you do. So you better bet on yourself. And it's not comfortable. And when you change, that will there will be people around you that won't like it, and they will have opinions to keep you benefiting them in the way you have, because everything you do and how you serve, there is some people who is really benefiting of you doing all of that for them, but you're not. And when you withdraw that to take care of yourself, yes, they will react in some way. And some of them will applaud you and say, good girl, this is fantastic. You deserve all the love in the world. And some of them will turn their back and say, you abandoned me. And that might happen, and it has to be okay. And this is a very, very interesting question. Again, I want you to screenshot this or take a picture with your phone and save this. So ask yourself, who am I when I'm not trying to prove anything? I remember the first time when I had collapsed my life completely. I was sitting on my sofa, and I know all the tricks to I'm going to just be and finding my way back. And I was really a person who practiced like doing meditations and so on. And still, when I sat down with myself, my first thought was, how do I be? Which is actually the opposite of being. And it took me a long time to understand what being meant, just being present with myself. So when you peel off the layers of yourself and all the roles you took on, that's where you meet yourself, where you're not proving anything to anyone. And when you lead yourself, this is how you move. You go from I should to I choose. You make conscious choices about your life because the shoulds never ends and they don't feel good. They're just hard pushing moments. But when you choose, then you lead yourself. And the self leadership really means making decisions from alignment instead of fear. And what does that mean? What is the difference? Well, alignment feels good because then you make choices that feels good for you. And fear is a player in your life always. And fear isn't real. Fear is something inside you, often your ego, trying to keep you safe. Fear of something new, the ego wants you to stay the same. It doesn't want you to change. It wants you to be like you always been because that's what you know. But if you're going to change your life, you have to release the fear. So release the fear, you have to get into alignment with yourself. And being in alignment with yourself in that soft space, it feels good. And that is the biggest difference between these two places. Making decisions from alignment feels good. And when you want to make decisions because you fear anything, make the decisions anyway. Because fear also will tell you where to jump. Now we're going to live. We're going to create a life where success feels sustainable, boundaries feel natural, you trust yourself, you feel at home. This is what I wish for you. And this is what it looks like to go from abandonment to self leadership. We can create our lives. We have the lives in our hands and we live it and we love it. And it feels at home. And this is the philosophy that we build from. If your life is a house, every house needs a foundation, and the foundation for your life is you. And it's definitely the relationship you have with yourself. It's so important to cultivate you with you. You are the most important person in your life. You are your best friend, your greatest supporter. And when you embrace that role for yourself, you can do anything. And you can fill your cup so you also can be there for others, because it's not about abandoning the people that you love. It's about taking care of you so you actually, for real, can take care of others and give to others as well. And humility doesn't mean making yourself smaller. This is also important. We don't want to dim our light. We want to shine our brightest ever. But we have to be honest with ourselves. We have to listen deeply to ourselves. And we choose ourselves with compassion. Because it's not going to be easy. And we're going to have the emotions and we're going to go through things. And it's not an end destination. Now I feel self-led. Now I'm there. No. Every day, through everything, we lead ourselves. Because we know life happens and it's not always easy. And we will meet other people and we will meet situations and we will handle life as always, but from a different place. That is the goal of this. And coming home to yourself, reconnecting with this person that you've been missing for so long doesn't mean you have to create someone new. It's returning to who you have always been. And now I want you to invite you to something, because this was the first step to awareness. And I want you to keep the questions, and I want you to sit with this again. And the next step is the actual transformation. Because after the awareness that we've been through today, you also want to change. Sorry. And that's why I created something fantastic. I have created the Humble House Method, and it's a deeper journey to rebuild your relationship with yourself and create success without the self abandonment. And now I have shaken going up and on. Yes. And I created this because this was exactly would what would have made my journey so much easier, and not going through these deep interruptions and gone through the transformation and integration in such another easier way. And what's included in this is the reconnection with yourself, to really understand and really get the connection to yourself. And we're going through the building of the trust with yourself again. And we're going to go through how you create these aligned boundaries so they feel good to you, not like the push that we talked about earlier. We're going to go through how it feels to lead from within, from that aligned place. How do I actually do that? And how do I become that kind of person who understands from what place my self leadership comes? And then we're going to build a life that feels like home. And this is for you if you are the woman who says, I'm ready to stop abandoning myself. But it's your choice, nobody else's. You have to feel it. Are you ready? Are you ready to make the choice? And the thing is, with this, you don't have to choose between success and yourself. You're just going to learn another way of doing it without losing yourself. And then the new question becomes, how do I create success while staying connected with myself? And if I have learned that way earlier, that would have been so fantastic. And it would save me so much difficulties. And I want to thank you for being here today. And this is your choice. You listening to yourself, and your journey back to yourself begins with one choice. And that is the self leadership. That is you who lead yourself first. Are you going to make the choice, or what is the cost if you don't? What happens if you don't make that choice and you keep on going like you are today for another year, for another month, for another 5 years? What will happen then? Who will you be? How will you feel? So now it's up to you. I'm opening the door for you to join me, but it's your decisions. And are you ready? Are you ready to come home to yourself and meet yourself? And if you are, I hope I will see you in this next round of the Humble House method. It will definitely be a life-changing experience. And I will put the link in the comments. And I will also send you an email afterwards for you to really make the decision to start prioritizing yourself and make yourself important in your own life. Thank you so much for being here today. And I thank you so much for taking the time for you today. And I will see you again. And I hope I will see you in the Humble House method, because you will absolutely love it. And the best thing is you will absolutely love yourself. So thank you for today.